Hi guys, Dom is here. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. It's really nice to have a one-on-one with you, man. We should have done this years ago.
Yeah, man. And we've actually said we're going to do more of these, so this is cool. We one on one, just talking about our favourite music. And you mentioned this band, doing this band, and it made me very happy because whenever I can, I just get them in there and mention YNT, don't I?
Yeah, you just get giddy whenever they're mentioned on one of our other things. So I just figured, yeah, man, we got to do YNT because so many people out there love them. They're
Yeah,
almost a cult band at this point.
yeah.
But man, so a very loyal fan base, and they don't get talked about very much. I don't ever see their names on other video blogs or whatever. So let's
No.
do this.
It's funny you should say about the loyal fan base. I wrote a few things down there, and I remember reading a little while ago that bands used to hate playing with them. Well, I didn't hate playing with them, but even if they supported Y&T, the fan base was so loyal, they would just give the other band such a hard time back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be the case anymore because we're all a bit too old for that shit. But yeah, the loyal fan base would be very almost toxic because all they wanted to know was Y&T. So if anyone doesn't know,
Yeah.
Y&T used to be called Yesterday and Today, and then they changed their name to Y&T. American hard rock band from Oakland, California. First album came out in 1974. That would have been as Yesterday and Today. Sold over
Wow.
4 million albums, which, I mean, that sounds a lot, but it ain't enough. It ain't enough, really, in my opinion. Um, and they've had 12 albums out, studio albums in total, which ain't a lot if you think about from 1974. And it's been massive gaps, obviously,
Yeah.
recently from albums. But and you can understand that. I don't know about you. I think Face Metal was the last one that came out, and that was like 20 odd years ago or something.
2010, I
Late
think.
2010, 14 years ago. So,
Yeah.
man, they're always touring. So you can sort of understand there's no money in albums anymore. So you can sort of understand to go in the studio would probably cost quite a bit. And the classic lineup, for anyone who doesn't know, what I call the classic lineup, Dave Meniketti, obviously on guitar and vocals, Leonard Hayes on the drums, by the way, all these members have died apart from obviously Dave McKetty now. They're all passed away now. So you've got Leonard Hayes on drums, died in 2016. Phil Kennemore on the bass and keys, died in 2011. Joey Alves on the rhythm guitar, died in 2017. So, man,
Wow.
that's, yeah, exactly. So we're just doing a top 10, 10 to 1. Let me
Yeah.
tell you my quick. This is a bit weird, this one, Don, because when you try to remember how you first heard a band, this is one of the only few bands I can honestly say I know the year that I heard them, how I heard them. So my brother came home with a mixtape, or he made a mixtape of Y&T. It was one side of a mixtape. It was only like 40 minutes long or something. And someone lent him some of the Y&T albums, and it was only three of them. It was only three albums. It was Black Tiger, Mean Streak, and In Rock We Trust. And
Okay.
he took the best songs that he liked off of that and put them on this mixtape and just listened to that constantly. So I figured it out. It was 1984 when I first heard YMT. So I was a bit behind, obviously, but and you were seeing reflecting in my list, 90% of it comes from that. Just that feel
Okay.
when I first heard the band. So
Yeah,
I don't know about
sure.
you.
I mean,
Yeah, so
for me, they were a band that was always kind of in the background. Obviously, when I was a kid and they were releasing records, I didn't have enough money to go buy anybody's catalog, just because I felt like it. None of my friends really listened to them. They didn't get played on the radio very much. Didn't get played on MTV with the exception of Summertime Girls. So they were always kind of there in the background, but I never
mm,
saw them live. And for me, it's one of those things where with the invention of Spotify and YouTube and all this stuff, you can really go back and really appreciate a band's catalog, which is one of the great things about the modern world we live in.
oh yeah,
When you couldn't go, oh, I'm going to go buy all, 12 Y&T albums or whatever. That's just never going to happen, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you can just listen to them, and so I think we're coming from two different angles, so the lists are going to be interesting
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't really have those core memories, you know, back in the
Mm.
day. So I'm coming at it from you know, I'll probably have a bit more newer stuff than you will. So it'll be good. I'm looking
It
forward to it.
will. Well, I mean, to say true, I mean, they reckon that the whole, I remember reading about YMT. I mean, animals are going mad, just chasing each other here, brother. I remember like the thing with YMT, they reckon why they never got big, and I sort of agree, is that every album they had some real classics and standout songs, but I think the consistency across an album where you had, wow, that is just everything is amazing.
Yeah.
I think they always just struggle for that strength across an album completely. When you like, I mean, I've got this T-shirt on. We don't really remember like bands will make one special album.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know, but I think they went from good to excellent on their albums. It's definitely underrated for
Sure,
sure.
and you know, I've been kind of, we'll probably talk a bit more about it as we get into the songs, but yeah, I was trying to kind of place why they never really
Mm.
got to that next level, but I think it's just a couple of things. A&M, the label they were on, weren't a metal label, weren't really a
Yeah.
hard rock metal label, so I think maybe promotion and things of that nature just didn't come second nature to them. You know, working
Mm.
the rock radio stations and stuff. Maybe that might be something. Also,
Mm.
they were a bit longer in the tooth than a lot of their contemporaries. You
Yeah.
said their first album came out in what, 74?
Yeah.
So if you're competing with the Motleys and the Rats and all that kind of stuff, you know, they were a bit older
Yeah.
and they didn't have that. And even though Meniketti has a great voice, they didn't have that kind of frontman kind of thing. They didn't have a
Yes.
David Lee Roth. They didn't have a,
Mm.
you know, pretty boy out there in the
Mm.
front, you know. So I think a lot of those factors,
No, I
you know.
totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, we're going to get on, like you said, to the songs and the vocals, especially the guitar work of Dave Meniketti, just amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, 10-1, mate. So we're going to
Let's
rattle
do it.
these off. Are you ready to go for
Okay.
number 10?
You want me to go first?
Well, it won't get too confusing if I go first, I suppose, will it? Because it's only two of
No.
us.
For
So
once in your life, go
I'll tell you,
first.
I'll go first. I'll go first. So,
Good.
like I said, a lot of these songs will come off of that. I know exactly what was on that tape that I listened to for years as well. A
Yeah.
lot of these songs are. So I remember this first one. This is off of Black Tiger, and this was a single, and this is "Don't Want to Lose." So, I mean, I remember listening to this song, "Don't Want to Lose," and I was thinking, because at that time, early '80s, of course, I've been listening to like some heavy stuff. When we talk about heavy stuff, we're talking Sabbath and Motorhead and AC/DC and all that, and thinking like this is raw. And I remember thinking when I first heard this, thinking that's just too melodic, for me. But
Yeah.
it
Too
really got
wimpy.
it's too wimpy, if you like. Yeah, and it is like the melodic song of that album as well. Where a lot of those songs dived into classic rock. I think this was the start of Y&T really hitting that '80s stage of more melodic stuff. And I just love the song, man. It's so catchy. It's one of them songs as well. There's a few songs in rock that I love where you can hear the hand sliding up and down. You can hear them
Oh
down the
yeah.
guitar. Make It Real from Scorpions is one of them. You can actually hear them going. And I remember always thinking, "Don't Want to Lose," and I can hear him just sliding up and down. I just
Wow.
love that.
Yeah.
Little nuances like that. But "Don't Want to Lose" is my number 10. Amazing
Okay.
melodic song.
All right. My number 10 is from In Rock We Trust, which was 1984. And the song is Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy, which is just a great melodic rock song. You know, it's so hard to. I tried to write down little blurbs about these songs, but it's just, they're all just great melodic. So I'll just try my best. But it's got a great opening riff there. I wrote down there's a bit of electronic drums on there, so
Yes.
every once in a while it'll be a riff like do do do,
Yeah.
which makes me smile in a good way because it's really of its time, right? It's really 1984. That really seals the deal. But yeah, just terrific stuff. Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy, somewhere in the middle of the record, I think. Yeah, great song.
Love that song. Yeah. Again, Memories, man. Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, after I got that mixtape, by the way, I got all these albums. Well, I didn't go
Of
back all the
course you
way.
did. Yeah.
When I could afford it, I got them all. I bought them, and as they came out after that. So that's a brilliant song. Right, my number nine, mate, is coming from. This is my latest song, by the way, the newest one
Okay.
from 1990. So,
Oh, right.
uh,
From 10. Yeah.
yeah, from the album 10. To tell you the truth, I went off. I was starting to go off of Y&T a little bit at this stage. I think the album before, Contagious, it's sort of like they started to take influence from bands that were having hits at the time, and it sort of put me off a little bit. And I was like, I think I remember on Contagious,
You're
was
not
thinking,
the only one.
yeah, and I was thinking, man, you don't need to sound like Bon Jovi because you're better than Bon Jovi. You don't need to do that, and it sort of put me off a bit. And then on 10, they went very Def Leppard
Mm,
on some of these tracks, especially this track. And that's a bit weird because I'm choosing this as one of my favorite tracks, but I love a ballad, obviously, and Y&T can write a ballad like no other band.
yeah.
They got feeling in there that no other band can write a ballad like them. And Don't Be Afraid of the Dark is my number nine. Just a smash hit. I mean, it could have been a Def Leppard song, really, but I think it just went
Yeah.
above what Def Leppard could do at that time.
Well, I mean, we can talk about them trying to get a hit after years and years of, of being in the trenches, touring and stuff. So, I mean, it must be discouraging for a band, to just keep doing it and doing it. Plus, they were on a new label, so they were probably pushing them to write more commercial songs and stuff. But a good track is a good track. You can say it sounds like Def Leppard, but better than a lot of the Def Leppard songs that you like, probably, And there is the difference between Meniketti's voice,
Yeah.
because I know that really hits you in the feels, especially.
Oh, mate.
I
Yeah,
know that he
yeah.
can really do that to you more than just about any other singer.
Yeah, yeah, amazing singer. And we're going to speak about guitar work as well. But man, and I've seen bits of him live now, and wow, just, and he ain't been well either. And you just think, how can he be that? His voice is still great. His guitar work is just amazing. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark is an amazing ballad, man. That's my number
Well,
nine.
I was looking at the set list for this last tour they just did, and that's still in the set list. Don't be afraid of the dark. So
Yeah,
they they must still like it because
yeah,
they don't have to play it. It wasn't like a huge hit that they can't avoid, but yeah, so they must like playing it.
yeah. Great song.
Okay, my number nine is from 1985, Down for the Count, and it is Hands of Time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this
Oh,
this has got Lee written all over it. This is what you would call like an epic ballad. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like it's not like Love Me type ballad. It's more like a ballad with balls, I guess.
yeah.
Especially with his voice, you can't really. He's not exactly Brett Michaels, you know what I mean? Like he's got like that real kind of toughness to it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, just one of those great epic ballads. Maybe a little touch bluesy, a touch Zeppelin-y, but
Yeah.
not overboard. But just a great kind of thing that just kind of goes and goes until the end. So yeah, great song there.
I love that song. It's almost like the atmosphere of that song, and it's almost you speak of the meaning of the song, the hands of time. It's almost like the guitar work is like a clock. It's almost like time
Oh
itself.
yeah,
It's just amazing stuff.
yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Okay, my number eight is from In Rock We Trust, 1984, and it's Don't Stop Running. Just a
Oh
brilliant.
yeah.
I think it was a single as well. Um, just brilliant. Just a quick note that I swapped this out. I don't know. Don't matter if you've got this other song that I'm going to talk about, but I think I remember now on my other top 10 I did. This has got a very same. It's almost like not a carbon copy, but it's very similar to Down for the Counts Anytime at All. It's almost like the structure's very similar. And I was fighting whether to have this or that or Don't Stop Running. And this one was told Don't Stop Running because it came on the other day actually in the car, and I was like, "Fuck, man, that is a brilliant song. It's
Yeah,
just absolutely amazing."
really is.
We we don't even have to say about melodic, do we, in any of these songs because they're all.
Yeah, probably not, but
But that is just one brilliant song. Don't Stop Running from 1984's In Rock We Trust. Amazing stuff.
okay. Great. Okay, so number eight, for me, they released the Unearthed two unreleased songs CDs. Now, Unearthed Volume One probably has the better sound quality because these are like either demos or songs that didn't make the record or whatever. I mean, they don't sound unfinished, but they don't sound like mastered, you know.
Hmm.
But so the first one it sounds a bit better because I think they included ones that are later because the first one was 74 to '04,
Yeah.
so they still included some older ones, whereas volume two only went up to 89. So the sound quality isn't as good as the first one, but I think the song quality is better. So this is from Unearthed Volume 2. This is called New Kid in Town. I love this song. It's kind of mid-tempo. You know, they're really good at that thing where they have where they start off, you think it might be kind of a ballad, but then it really kicks in and it becomes something else. This is another one of those. There's cowbell on it.
Of course.
And there's a riff during the chorus that is just like do 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 do. Really good song. I can't. I tried to pinpoint where it came from because it could have been from, you know, if they're going to what I say 89. If they're going up there, it could be Contagious or it could be In Rock We Trust or it could be.
Yeah.
I don't know where it falls in, but it does sound kind of. Well, I don't know. It just sounds like classic Y&T to me. Great song. And you just wonder why some of these songs that are on these, demo albums don't make it onto the record because this sounds like, to me, sounds like one of their best tracks. And I listen to it a lot. So there you go. New Kid in Town off of Unearthed Volume 2.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate. I haven't heard that. So, I mean, I don't think I ever heard the Unearthed albums stuff. So
there are quite good. I gotta say, those are both recommended, especially if you love the band. Yeah,
I love them, man. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out. Okay, so my number 7 is one that you've already chosen. I love it. Hands of Time from Down for the Count. Yeah, this, in fact, weirdly enough, and I know this is very controversial, probably between Y&T fans, but it might be just, that period. I don't know of my life and listening to the band. Of course, this was my favorite album, Down for the Count. And I know a lot of people would go even probably before Black Tiger. They go around to like Earthshaker and stuff like that as the classic, albums they love. I think they hit their peak of that really melodic stage, which I loved at the time. Of course, the 80s was all about, melody and these massive choruses, and I think in the whole album, Down for the Count, had the most quality overall for me. And this was on it, Hands of Time, and it was the ballad of the album. And you always had Y&T had the ballad of the album, and it was always something special.
Yeah.
And Hands of Time was no different. Even at the end, remember the end where it sort of goes in reverse and the hands go back and it sort of comes back in. Oh, yeah, brilliant. Absolutely superb. Yeah. Hands of Time, number 7.
When I introduced it, I said this Lee written all over it, so I'm not surprised whatsoever. Yeah, that one.
And he does loads of this a day, if you on Hands of Time as well. Thinking about it, Meniketti does loads of this sort of heavy breathing, where he's sort of almost, and then he belts out. It's just everything into it. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. That Coverdale sort of heavy breathing he does.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Okay, so my number 7, I think you're gonna have it. I think it's gonna be higher on your list. I love it, but I was just doing rankings, and this is how it came out. From Black Tiger, 1982, their classic Forever.
Oh yeah.
Now it's got an acoustic opening again, as they do, and then goes into the riff. The one thing that does kind of make me smile, kind of like the electronic drums, is when there are these whisper answer vocals because she's hot, and then it happens again in the next verse. It's just of its time and it's brilliant. Um, this is a perfect example of Y&T not getting the exposure.
Yeah,
This should have been on my rock stations growing up, rock radio stations. I mean, we had all this stuff, Zebra and all these bands that got
yeah,
played all the time. But this I should have known this just by osmosis, just hearing it everywhere. This is just one of those tracks that just slipped through the cracks. I mean, the people that know it's a classic and know it's great, but it really should be on every classic rock compilation. You know what I mean? Like, just fantastic stuff.
totally agree, man. I mean, the excitement that Meniketti brings out in his guitar in that song as well, the way it just goes up and up and up. He's just, man, something special. The guitar work on that is just amazing. But yeah,
Yeah,
what a classic. I will obviously be getting around to that song later, as you know.
I thought so.
Um, Brilliant song. Okay, so from the same album,
All right.
um, next up, another song that appeared on this brilliant mixtape my brother had was Hell or High Water. I just
Yes.
love
Okay.
Hell or High Water. And you know what? I've listened to it again the other day, leading up to this, because we was getting our buying tea stuff together. You know what? This could have been a Kiss song.
Mm,
That that sort of love it loud type thing with the drums are massive.
yeah.
And, and you can imagine, I don't know, Gene Simmons like just
Yeah.
belting. It really does sound Kiss to me. It never used
Hmm.
to back then because I was more into Y&T than I was a Kiss.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I listen to it now and I think that could be one of those, you know what I mean, anthemic sort of shout it out loud Kiss songs for sure.
Right.
But absolutely love it, man. It's very drum driven, if you like, with just riffs crashing in.
Yeah.
Um, just amazing stuff. Shout it out loud stuff. Really is. Love it. What's
Cool.
your number six, mate?
Number six for me is from the aforementioned Contagious, which I have to defend a little bit. I don't. I think most hardcore fans are of the opinion that you are, that they're better than having to chase trends and all this kind of stuff. This was the first label on Geffen, which had White Snake and some Tesla and bands that were really hitting big. And they brought in some outside writers to write with Dave Meniketti. So I can see where they would. It was definitely of its time, and you can tell that it was an attempt to maybe kick up the album sales so they can start playing bigger places and getting. It didn't really work out in the end because for all the reasons we said at the beginning.
Yeah.
But there's still some great songs, and as I said, a great song is a great song. So this may not be the core, Y&T era, but still a great song. This is called Eyes of a Stranger.
Yeah.
This reminds me, the opening riff and the chorus really kind of remind me. It has a Dokken feel.
Yeah.
Um, the riffs and the guitar work has a Dokken feel. Another great vocal from Meniketti. And yeah, I would recommend going back and listen to maybe some of these songs if they put you off, or even the idea of it put you off at the time. There's no denying that it is an influence of 1987. Absolutely, the year, not necessarily the Whitesnake album, but yeah. So, but great song's great song, and Eyes of Stranger is a great song.
I think you're right. I think revisiting now, I would appreciate it a lot more. I think that it was almost a disappointment back then that, like you
Yeah,
said, that you're better than that. I mean, at the time, because I much preferred these than Bon Jovi, and like to listen to the song, I think the song Contagious was very Bon Jovi, whoa, sort of like there.
yeah, yeah.
But I think, like, at the time, it disappointed. But I think now, yeah, I think I'll find some classics in there. And think that was the beginning of the album as well, the Contagious song. And I was like, oh, what are you doing, Bon Jovi? You don't need to. And it's frustrating because I knew they were so much better than that. But
Yeah,
still, it's probably still a great album, but you're just comparing it to classic albums as well. Right? Do you know what I mean? So,
definitely was a
um,
different feel. Yeah.
yeah. No. Okay, number five, I think we're at, we mate.
Yep.
Um, so going back to the ballads, of course, that I love.
Or
Oh, man, this song is just probably one of the most emotional songs that every song is emotional when Dave Meniketti sings it. But I love this. It's the close out of the album In Rock We Trust, and it's This Time. And this is just a massive ballad. It's just a huge, huge ballad. And I love everything about it, but the way the chorus just lifts into this song. This time I don't have to be afraid. It's so catchy, and it's just everything about it is just like emotion driven.
it's like you're walking in the clouds.
Oh my, it is absolutely amazing. And I love the weird sort of guitar riff. Don't remember that right at the end. It sort of does this. And you just hear
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fading out. It's just amazing. And yeah, this time another one that was on the tape, of course.
Okay.
But just brilliant, just amazing ballad. And like I said, you was waiting for that. I mean, with a lot of bands back then, not just Y&T, I was so excited about the ballad of the album, and I've always been like that. What's it going to be like? Is it going to be amazing? And they always, and all these American bands had them, didn't they? They always wrote the ballad of the album, and I was disappointed when
Right.
they didn't have one. I get disappointed now with new albums that come out. I'm like, where's the ballad? You know. And funny thing is speaking to like the Eclipse singer, he says they are the hardest songs to write.
Oh,
You
right.
know, he said they're really hard because what I mean, to write a rocking song can be quite easy, but when you talk about ballads, they've got to be perfect, and they're really hard to
Mm.
write. So
Yeah, I
I
guess that
just
makes sense.
yeah. So this time, just amazing.
Well, you won't find any real ballads on my list. Well, yeah, you know me. I'm a cynic. I like riffy rock and roll. That's about
Yeah, yeah.
it. Although this one is a bit down. It's certainly not a ballad, but this is from the last album, Face Melter. This is a track called Wild Child. It's, once again, almost a ballad. Starts off, the verses are a bit slower, but then it picks up in the chorus. Got another great riff on this one. The chorus is a bit minor chord. Like, I wouldn't say it's alternative or anything, but it's just more of maybe a darker feel.
Mm.
Um, but man, I mean, still just I mean, it's number 5 on my list. So, and you know me, I'm allergic to grunge or whatever. So certainly it can't be anything like that. It just has a different feel, bit of a darker feel. But yeah, the chorus is just amazing. So yeah, off of Face Melter, Frontiers Records. I'm surprised they haven't kicked them in the studio again, but I guess he had health problems and deaths of everybody around him. So, that explains why we haven't had another record. But thanks again, Frontiers, for fronting a Y&T record in the 2010s.
I think Face Mill was one that I've got to revisit. I have heard it a few times, but maybe not enough as well. I think
Yeah.
it'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting to get all the Y&T discography in like a mix and listen to it together. Because sometimes you just listen, you just think you love something because you just got nostalgia for it. But perhaps something next door to it that you thought you didn't love is just as
Of
good. It's
course.
just
No, I mean,
nostalgia brain that we have, isn't it?
completely, and like we were saying with Contagious and stuff, it's like at the time, whatever could be going on in your life, or you have, you just kind of you hear it once or twice, and then I remember I completely unrelated, but I remember I posted an album track from that Heaven and Hell album, the last one that Dio was on, which wasn't an album that I really paid that much attention to at the time. I heard it a couple times, thought it was all right, and then I put it on the other week or whatever, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is fantastic.
Yeah,
So it's all about your expectations,
Yeah, yeah.
where your head's at the time.
No, I
And
agree. Yeah,
but if you come at, 10, 15 years later,
yeah.
it might be a different headspace, whatever. But yeah, absolutely.
Totally agree, mate. Totally agree. Okay, we're getting into some serious business now. Number four.
Okay, yeah.
Number four. What an opening track this is. The title track, 1983, Mean Streak. Just, just amazing song. This when this comes on now, it just sounds. I mean, we talk about, don't we, songs that, and I thought about another show actually that would involve you, hopefully, Dom, about songs or albums that we've heard so many times, too many times, if you like, but we love them still. And we can listen to them now, just as, and the opposite of that. Do you know what I mean? That we just can't listen to them anymore. I can listen to this song every day of the week. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. From that opening riff, um, Meniketti really giving his on his vocals. He's even giving it that much. Sometimes he doesn't even sound like he's saying Mean Streak. I got Mean Streak. He's giving it all. He's got a mean streak. It's just fucking brilliant. Yeah, it's just brilliant. It's just absolutely superb.
Right.
And just basically, lyrics make me laugh as well because about a bloke that, just getting stepped on just because he, what I mean, because he's just in love with this and he'd do anything for her and he just used and abused. It's quite funny. The lyrics are funny. The song's just rocking and it's just brilliant. And Mean Streak is my number four. It's just fucking excellent.
Oh, well, I know that's a big fan favorite as well, so that's good.
Yeah.
Number four for me is from the aforementioned 10 album from 1990. This song is called Surrender.
Yeah.
Wow. Really great. It sounds like, to me, this one sounds like classic Y&T, and it could easily fit on the earlier albums. The one thing about it that stands out for me is the drumming, and I had to look, and I didn't realize this, but Jimmy DeGrasso was the drummer in the band at the time. He was on Contagious, but the producer on 10 insisted on having another drummer come in. And this is Steve Smith from Journey.
Oh, wow.
Who drums on this album.
Fucking hell.
Couldn't believe it. And he's doing some real tasty licks, let me tell you. It really, it made me go see who the drummer. I was like, I know Jimmy DeGrasso and he's great, but this is kind of another level. And so Steve Smith, our old pal from Journey. And for me, it's the pre-chorus on this that just kills me. It's just beautiful. Yeah. So another, from 10, Surrender, just a great song and really deserves to be kind of acknowledged in that kind of classic Y&T period, I think.
I think 10 was a return to form after Contagious for me. I think it was a step up. I think it went back more classic to me. Yeah, brilliant song that is as well. Okay, top three. So
top three?
I suppose you could call this a ballad.
Well, they have so many of those,
Yeah, this is a bit of a rocking ballad, I suppose. Whereas it's off the same album as This Time, which is a proper ballad, obviously.
Yeah.
Off the In Rock We Trust in 1984. And it's I've just realised that I've got 3 songs off of that album. But it's I'll Keep On Believing, in brackets, Do You Know? Oh, man, it's just brilliant. I love the way the verses sort of die down almost into this very ballad territory. Do you know what you're doing to me? And then it, like, for the second half of the verses, it rocks out with some chugging guitar. And then the chorus is massive. Of course it's massive. It's Y&T, isn't it? But just love the song. It's just so melodic again. Brilliant. I'll Keep On Believing. Do You Know? Excellent song.
All right. Not a complicated title at all.
I know. It's just why you didn't even need to put Do You Know, did they?
Yeah, just pick one or the other.
I know. I'll Keep On Believing would have been a brilliant song title. just in case you didn't get it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
God.
yeah. Just if you're looking for the hook, that's there. Okay, so my number three is, this is going to be on everybody's top. I would expect it to be on everybody's top list. 1981 Earthshaker. This is "Rescue Me," which has the riff.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It really it fools you into a false sense of security.
Yeah,
And then he comes in and does his little "Rescue Me," and
yeah,
then they just fucking da, 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 da.
yeah.
Another one that should just be known. This should be just a classic rock, song that should just be played on classic rock stations. It should be on every classic rock compilation. It's just I don't know why songs like this,
Yeah.
weren't part of my childhood, because they really should have been.
No, no, man, I agree. And I, I said to you, I think at the beginning, I've got this list that about 5 or 6 songs just come outside of the 10. And Rescue Me, I was just fighting with that. And again,
Oh,
it's nostalgia again, because it's like,
yeah,
that was before, I found them with these middle 80s albums, but I still would I almost think that that should be in my top 10. It's weird, isn't it? It's like, oh God, I was fighting with that one because it is so classic sounding as well. It's almost like
it is.
it's almost like think of the most classic songs and with the structure of the song and how emotional it is, and like you said, the beginning of
Yeah,
it. Oh man, it's a brilliant
it
song.
does. It's got all those components of a classic rock song.
Mm,
And it's a shame that this just wasn't a part of everyone's
yeah.
upbringing, as much as any other early 80s rock track, really. I mean, it really should be up there. So
Yeah.
there you go. "Rescue Me." Love
Brilliant
it.
song. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, my number two, mate. Um, Ballad, I suppose, but
Sort of a ballad, yeah.
a very heavy ballad, I suppose, quite dark. Um, Amazing. 1982's Black Tiger and its Winds of Change.
Oh boy, yeah. That is a Lee song. Yeah, absolutely. That that is my buddy Lee right there.
Loads of heavy breathing from McKenna, loads of heroic guitar soloing, just amazing. Quite a long song. I don't actually know how long it is, but I think it's like a 5+ minute ballad sort
Yeah,
of thing. Just heroic guitar playing, guitar hero stuff. This is.
yeah.
And it just every note, it just feels like there's just so much emotion. There's a much emotion in his voice as there is in the guitar. They like go hand in hand, don't they? Menike, just amazing. Yeah, Winds of Change, 1982 Black Tiger album, brilliant.
Fantastic. Okay, my number two. This is time for the haters to come on.
Oh,
Everybody, everybody write their comments. My number two is "Contagious." Um, it is. It is. I mean, I wasn't even a big Bon Jovi fan even at the time.
mm,
I mean, I can hear now, being a bit older and analyzing a bit, that yeah, it was definitely an attempt. The verses kind of sound like "You Give Love a Bad Name." That dun, 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 dun. And of course the "whoa whoa whoas." But I do like a "whoa whoa whoa." I have to say. I remember when I mentioned, Y&T were always kind of in the background there, like I knew who they were. But when this came out, this was actually like, I love this song. This is great.
mm,
So whatever tricks they were pulling at the time appealed to this 21-year-old when it came out. I just think it's a great song. I think the chorus is brilliant. In the hands of a lesser band, it may have just been kind of I would be more tend to go, oh, that's just a rip off of Bon Jovi. But with his vocals
yeah,
and with their take on it, it gave it something different for me. Not being a fan when it came out, it was a bit tougher than what was
Mm.
around, even though it had the woes and stuff. It just sounded great. Ooh, it's getting dangerous. It's got to, I think it's just a terrific song. It is kind of a time capsule of 1987, but
Yeah.
a good song's a good song. And when I mentioned that I was looking at the set list for their last tour, this is in it.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
they must not hate it, because I mean, it wasn't that much of a hit where they can't play it. I mean, they could probably go without playing it,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't get many complaints, to be honest. But he must like it. They're still doing it. So
Put it this way, I'd listen to this over any Bon Jovi song any day, even though it's not
yeah,
not on my list. And at the time, I was disappointed, only because I just thought they were so much better than many bands around then. But I mean, man,
copycats. Yeah,
I'd still rather listen to it than
yeah.
anything off that Slippery When Wet album for sure.
Well,
Um,
when you put together that massive Y&T compilation, this comes on, turn it up, and just enjoy it for what it is, because it
I
really
agree.
is a great melodic rock song. Absolutely,
The
and,
thing
and should
is,
have been key.
oh, I totally agree. The thing is, bands now, new musicians bring out little bits that you can pick out of Bon Jovi or Whitesnake. They don't get any grief now, do they? But
Of course not.
they're still doing it now, trying to capture that. But
Yeah.
that's cool, man. Thanks for that. Okay, I'm at my number one, aren't I? Oh,
Sorry,
man. I'm the number one now, and
you're at number one. Yeah,
already. Well, what do you reckon it's going to be?
forever.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I just,
Oh,
man,
see, we're such good friends. I know
we are,
exactly
mate,
where you're
we
going.
are. No, it's just an excellent song. I think it just sums up Y&T because it's almost like, I think coming out of that, I think I spoke about Earthshaker already. It's almost got like a hint of that classic rock of Earthshaker, and then moving into this melodic 80s stage,
Into the '80s. Yeah,
but keeping hold of that still. It sounds very classic rock, but so again, the melody is just amazing. It's almost like the song's going to end and it doesn't, but you just don't want it to end. Just a riff. I think there was a song on Face Melter where it's almost like the Forever. They sort of tried to sort of capture it a little bit because I didn't mind that
uh,
because it's such a classic song. It deserved it. You know what I mean? It's almost like they wrote
yeah.
this, had the same sort of structure, but there's not many bands that can pull off a song like this. 1982 as well. I mean, that was early on, wasn't it? As
It
well.
was, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's when the Sunset Strip was just starting to get going as far as metal music, and you probably had Quiet Riot. Metal Health was probably the biggest album around at that point as far as a hard rock album.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they were forerunners, absolutely.
just an amazing song. Just love it. We'll always love it. Love it when it comes on now. Just turn it up. Amazing stuff. If you don't know
And you'll love it.
Y&T, yeah, if you don't know Y&T and know what to listen to, I mean, probably one of the songs you would point out and say, have a listen to that. You
Absolutely.
know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah. I would say that would be, personal preference aside, I would say that's in the top three of songs that I would recommend
Yeah,
for someone who had never heard Y&T.
definitely.
It would
That's
be
it.
that, Rescue Me, and then my number one as well.
Yeah. Okay, mate, your
So
number
my
one.
number one you've already covered.
Okay.
It is indeed "Don't Stop Running."
Yeah, I love that song. Yeah.
I mean, this should be up there with "Any Way You Want It" and just all those classic songs of that era. You know what I mean? Like, it should be regarded as just one of those rock songs that you just hear everywhere. They never got their dues. Um, it could have been a huge MTV hit. I know they shot a video, and I mentioned that they were a bit older, a bit longer in the tooth than the youth that were doing their videos at the time. But yeah, it just has that um, feel of a classic
Yeah.
'80s mainstream rock song. So this, if they weren't going to go stratospheric with this one, then they didn't have a prayer.
It's
Because I mean,
funny. It's funny, isn't it? We're talking now as older people and looking back, and and not at the time talking about them times when they hit that sort of influence from maybe Bon Jovi, taking a little bit of influence from Def Leppard. But you look at the history of it, and that you can totally understand, can't you? That the songs that they did, and they was always just never getting quite there. You could totally understand the frustration of the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they're probably hearing, separate ways or something on the radio and on MTV 24/7 and thinking, why aren't they playing any of our good songs? And then unfortunately, I think their biggest exposure in the States at least was Summertime Girls, which is, in my opinion, such a throwaway song compared
Hmm.
to so many of their other great songs that we've covered here. It's a party song. It's a lightweight thing. But most hard rock fans probably that aren't exposed to them would go to Summertime Girls as the one song they know,
Yeah.
and that's not fair at all.
No. No.
I don't
Definitely
think.
not. Although I like the song.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the song, but it's certainly not up there with the ones that we've had here.
No.
You know,
No.
but
Amazing band. And I'm gonna really. It made me very happy that we was going to talk about Y&T because I just love them. It makes me want to. This is one of them bands. When you start talking about bands, it makes me want to go and listen to them now. That's like yeah,
yeah.
Y&T. Um, I've got a few. I'll just name the
Okay.
titles of them. I've got a few honourable mentions because I really struggled with not including these. So it was like they
Go
could
for
have
it.
easily made it. So I've got Rescue Me and I Believe in You as well from Earthshaker
Oh, you like
1981.
that one too? Yeah. Wow. That must have been a sacrifice for you.
Yeah, love that song. I think the one that I really struggled with not putting on the list because as well it was on my little tape was Lonely Side of Town from Mean
Oh,
Street.
yeah.
Oh,
Good one.
love that song. And Free off of Down for the Count because I love that album so much. In the Name of Rock, what a brilliant opening
That's a
track
good one.
that
Yeah, I
is.
like that.
Anytime at All, which I've already mentioned, which is almost like Don't Stop Running. You listen to them side by side, they're very, very similar. And Face Like an Angel, which is all like a hard rock ballad sort of thing. And I loved Come In From the Rain as well from the 10.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love that song as well. So that's my
That's another one
honorable.
that's another one that could have been a hit.
Yeah, really difficult. 1990 was like the end of these sort of bands, wasn't it, as well? It was a really difficult time. So just didn't go anywhere, that one. But what about you, mate? I know you don't like your honorables, but you got
I
any?
don't. Yeah, I really, my short list was I think 23 songs, so I had to whittle that down to 10. And I just thought, God, that was such a chore. I'm just going to leave it there.
No,
I made my choice. God damn it. Stick
we're
with
going to be doing,
those.
we're going to be doing some more of these, though, mate.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, because sometimes you just want to just talk about 10 songs and you just want to talk about the best bands you can remember. And I think
Well,
Y&T
and
is,
this has been refreshing where we don't really follow any rules. You can
yeah,
just pick the 10 best tracks, because I do those singles charts on my Facebook that you've seen, or
yeah,
top 10 singles, but it has to be something that releases a single, or we have like the All Killer, and it's just like it's nice just to do. Could be album cuts, it could be singles, it could be whatever. Just your
yeah.
top 10 best. Really
So,
good.
yeah, expect more of these very straightforward top tens of some classic bands. So, mate, thanks for joining me as always. It's been a proper pleasure.
Absolutely,
And,
man. I appreciate it.
and anyone listening to this, if you love Y&T, put your put your songs at the bottom. But if you don't love them, what the fuck have you been doing? Simple
I
as
well,
that.
I think these are both good starting point lists. You know what I mean? And
Yes,
it's so
I
easy.
agree.
Just go on Spotify, just click on the songs that we've picked, make a playlist, and
Yeah. And then buy
there
all
you
the
go.
albums. And then buy all the albums and go and
Of
see them on
course,
tour.
of course.
Mate, it's been such a pleasure. Till the
You
next
too,
time.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you
Looking
later,
forward to
man.
it.
Bye.
See ya.